Hi, Rebecca. How are you?
Except for my throat. How are you doing, Doc?
Good. There's Rita.
Hi, kids.
Hello.
Hi, Eric. Hi, Leslie. Hi, Linda.
Becky, do you think you got this from one of your grandchildren? Or your grandson? No.
Well, possible. I think it was from swimming when the pool was too cold in the hotel.
Oh,
But
okay.
I was determined to last as long as my grandson.
That's a mistake.
Yeah, I think it's a mistake. But it sure was fun.
Yeah.
Right.
Looks like Melissa's probably got a little traffic tonight.
Happy birthday, Eric.
Thank you.
When was your actual birthday?
February 14th.
Oh my goodness.
Had little to do with that.
That's a fun day to have a birthday.
It is not.
Yeah.
No, it's a very good day of a birthday. It's a great day. I'm very lucky to have a birthday in February. I'm very lucky to have more of them too. It's all good.
The more the merrier.
That's right. The more the merrier.
Get that. I'm gonna check on Melissa. I'll be right back.
Okay.
There probably aren't many more with zeros in the number though.
I
I'm
know.
guessing. It's, whatever it is. Not
Yeah.
gonna be forever.
Yeah, that's as my husband always says, the numbers aren't working for us anymore.
No. Or the other thing is just there's more in the rear view mirror than there is in front of us.
Absolutely.
I know, it's true. Well, whatever. What are you gonna do? Keep rolling.
That's right.
Yeah. The other option isn't,
The alternative is
My mother used to say, consider the alternatives.
right.
yeah.
It's true. Well,
Eric, I got a weather report from Puerto Rico for you.
Oh, yeah. It's
Who's
nice.
there?
My son was there for 4 days over the weekend. It was 77 degrees.
Oh, it's too cold.
He
Too
said it was
cold.
gorgeous. Gorgeous.
Yeah, I guess I've never been there, but it's supposed to be a really nice spot. We'll
I
find
think
out.
there's two very different parts. Well, you're going to be in BA.
BA case. Yeah.
Yeah. I found out I could bring my guitar today, which made me very happy. Because all the notices in the airline say, don't bring it, it won't fit, da, da, da. And I finally called the airline, they said, oh no, we bring guitars all the time. It's like, don't worry about what it says on the website. I said, great. So
How long will you be there?
I said, send me that in an email so that I
Yeah.
have that I can hand to somebody and say, by the way, they said, bring it. So they did. I'm sorry, what was that?
How long will you be there?
The
many days?
12th through the 27th or something like that.
Oh,
And
nice.
I think I can come to I'll miss, there's one select board meeting that I might miss. But if there's no internet.
But April busted you. You have internet.
Well, they say we have internet. That's the other thing is people say that there's internet, and then
Right.
you go,
Right.
you're doing this thing, talking to people.
Yeah.
The people
Right.
that they don't want, they didn't want, you're better off not even being there.
Yeah.
So we'll see. If it's there, I'll be here. There.
Well, hi, Melissa.
Hi,
Hello.
Melissa.
Just now, Becky, what did you catch?
Well, it's my 5th day of vitamin D's. It's not working.
Mm.
When did you take out the first sign of your symptoms?
Yeah,
Really?
last week. Last Thursday, Friday morning.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. So today is the 23rd, correct?
Already,
Meeting of
yep.
the Shutesbury Select Board. And the first order of business is just to review the agenda, see if there are any additions, deletions, whatever. So we have our public comment period. Then I believe at least Elaine Paleo, if not others from the Fire Chief Study Committee, will be here to present their recommendations. And I think everybody has or the board members have a copy of that. Oh, wait a second. Yeah, so the fire chief, and then we have an update from the police study committee. Melissa, are you going to do that?
Yeah, I can do that. And if I miss something, I might have you help me fill it in.
Sure.
If I miss it, you, Becky.
And then at 6:30, we have a poll hearing with National Grid, and we'll do minutes. Then an update on where we are with the regional assessment for the regional schools, talk about town hall closure. Melissa, if you have an update for us on the real estate appraisal, talk about setting town meeting date, Mass Cultural Council grant contract, FERCog Bridge Academy earmark contract, State Police Dispatch Services MOU renewal, state letter for senior exemption, and then select board letter of support for the open space plan, and then town administrator updates. So we got a lot of stuff here. I'll just keep it moving, and we'll get through it in, I hope, two plus hours. So the first thing is the public comment. So do we have anybody here who wants to? Linda?
Yes, so at our last meeting, on the 1st of February, a public comment came in after the public comment period. It came in by email, and it's from Mary Lou Conca, and I just thought maybe I could read it into the record because her entry says, public comment, Shutesbury Select Board, please read as I am unable to attend.
I think that's a select board decides if they want to do that.
Yep, I just wanted to let you know. I don't know if you saw
Yeah.
it.
No, I'd rather not be reading public comments in.
Okay.
So, but I think if it got circulated, that would be good. I'm not sure I saw that.
It went to the select board, to the town
Did-
administrator, yeah, town clerk,
Okay.
finance committee.
Okay, I will,
On the 1st of
just-
February.
it's duly noted, and
Okay.
I will read through. Maybe I read it and just don't recall, but
Thank you. I just
thank
wanted
you.
to.
Is it about the cell tower? What's it about?
It's about the elementary school and, yeah.
Okay, yeah, all right, I did see that. Okay, yeah,
Okay,
I
All
saw
right.
that.
okay. All right. Great. So any other public comments? I don't see any hands. So we have, I just want to check my time here. We have about 8 minutes. So we want to do minutes. So I'd like to stick to the 6 o'clock report on the fire chief study committee in case we have other people coming specifically for that. Does that make sense to go ahead and do minutes? All right. So we have minutes from January 19th and February 1st.
And this is Linda, and just as a reminder, on the 19th, Eric left early, and on the 1st, Rita was
Right.
absent.
Okay. So I will
Right.
not be voting on those. So does Eric not vote because he wasn't there for the entire meeting?
I just
The
wanted
minutes
to,
are-
saying it, that's all.
I only get 3/4 of a vote.
Okay, so anything else to note, or do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of January 19th?
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from January 19th.
Okay, and I will second that. And
I'll abstain just in case there's any doubt
Okay.
about it. I'll just abstain.
Okay, all right. So all those in favor signify by saying aye,
Makepeace O'Neill, aye.
and Farrell, aye. And we have minutes from February 1st. which.
I'll
has
make a
Linda
motion, we
noted.
approve the minutes from February 1st.
Second,
Okay, any discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye,
Make peace O'Neill, aye.
Stalker, aye.
and Farrell abstain. Okay, great. So we do a time check. We still have 6 minutes. Is there anything else we can move up? Maybe the select board letter of support for the open space plan?
Yeah.
Seems like a non-controversial one. So we were approached by the open space committee, who is going to be submitting their plan to the state, the approved plan to the state, and they are looking for a letter of support from the select board. And you know what's important about getting the open space plan in and approved is that it then gives us access to some different grant funds, which could be used for a variety of activities that are highlighted in our open space plan. I believe that there was a draft letter, Becky, that it's pretty pro forma.
Yeah, it's just reads that the Shutesbury Selectboard affirms complete support for the open space, the new open space plan. And I hadn't filled in the date. I apologize because I was out sick. I didn't complete that one.
Yeah, okay.
But
Well,
it'll be ready for you in the morning. It's halfway done.
okay, so any discussion, or do I hear a motion to approve the issuance of a letter of support for the open space plan?
I make a motion. I'm so moved. I'm sorry. You said it better than I was going to.
Do I hear a second?
I'll
Okay.
second that.
All right, so is that something I will sign on behalf of the select board, Becky?
Yes, that would be great.
All right.
Mm.
So all those in favor of sending a letter of support for the open space plan, please signify by saying aye.
Make peace O'Neill, aye.
Stalker, aye.
Farrell, aye. Okay,
Becky, is there anyone in the waiting room waiting? I can't see.
Oh, I'm
Is there
sorry. I'll
anyone?
make you co-host.
Okay.
There's one.
Okay.
Let me do it. Make you co-host.
Go ahead. Okay, thank you.
all right, so we're rolling right along here. Becky, is there anything else that you can suggest? I don't know the state letter for senior exemption. if
Okay,
that's
so
something-
all this is, a request came from Natalie Blaze office that we just have a letter that confirms the date that it was originally signed. The town clerk had sent a letter of confirmation, but they wanted it also signed by the select board. So it's just stating that the vote was taken at annual town meeting and has your signatures and the signature of the town clerk.
Oh,
They wanted
okay.
the signatures on one piece of paper. So
Okay.
that's very straightforward as well.
Okay, great. So do I hear a motion to sign a letter to the state for the senior exemption?
So moved.
Second,
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Stalker, aye.
make peace O'Neill, aye.
And Farrell, aye.
Thank you very much.
All right. We have 2 minutes. Is there anything else we can dispense with in 2 minutes? Becky, again, I'm going to look to you. Maybe Melissa, do you have a report on the appraisal?
Yes, so I have a phone call tomorrow to find out when I can email it to the ethics and of all 3 properties. So
Oh,
I
okay.
had a complication because I had 3 properties.
Yeah.
So he had to look at it individually and then together. So I had to have them look at it as the three together and the three individually. So I have a phone call tomorrow, so I think I should be able to email it on and have it approved by them.
Okay, so that goes to State Ethics Commission and they issue then a ruling based on that.
That, right, based on what that outcome is, they will say whether or not it proves no financial gain.
Financial interest.
Yep, financial
Okay.
interest.
Okay, great. All righty. 1 minute. We just hold on for a minute and then.
Becky, town hall on Friday since it's gonna snow. Will you guys be in town hall if it's too much snow?
Ellen won't be here and Grace won't be here. Is that our folding party or wasn't it Thursday?
We're not having a folding party.
Not a
Hell
folding
yeah.
party, survey.
A
opening.
data
Survey
entry
is
party.
Thursday.
Yes. data
It's
entry party.
Thursday, right? Not Friday.
Right.
I will be there on Friday shoveling.
Yes.
All day.
Right,
Okay,
every
it's
couple of
6
hours.
It is 6 o'clock, so I see that we have at least 3 members. Kristen, did you? Yeah, you were on the Fire Chief Study Committee. So what we'd like to do is to hear from you folks, your recommendations. I think we all had a copy of the recommendations that you issued earlier this month. And maybe you just want to give us a summary and kind of what the major findings were.
Well,
And
I have it-
Elaine, are you going to do that?
Yes, I have it up on my screen if you would
Share.
want me to share it.
You're-
Can I
One
share
sec,
the screen or would you want me to?
Yeah,
Okay. Oh. All right, I will share my screen. Okay, so this is our document. I want to say that we all appreciated being on this committee. We really felt that we worked hard on it and we came to some conclusions for you. Basically, we went through the current job description and we went through a lot of the description of what the fire chief actually does and doesn't do beyond what the job description says. One of the things that we were talking about at one point was whether we could pull out some of the jobs that are not quite what you would call a fire chief if you were in any other kind of town, except for a small town in Western Massachusetts. So these were the emergency management director, the trainer for department personnel, doing complete equipment maintenance, and being the grant writer and other administrative duties. And after a lot of discussion, we decided that that was not ideal to pull it out. There are people waiting, asking to come in. Are you letting them in, Becky?
yeah.
Okay. Okay, I didn't know for sure. So
I don't see anybody at the moment, Lynn. at all.
it was Walter and Rachel.
I got them. I popped them in.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Because now I saw it too.
Paul
So
Vlatch too. Paul Vlatch is also on that list.
Well, he's been in for a while. I let him in a
Okay.
moment.
so the current job description doesn't have a residency requirement, although the current chief's contract does contain a residency requirement. And we came to the conclusion that everything was accurate in the description and that would be up to the personnel committee when they actually negotiated contracts, or when you as a select board negotiate contract, what you would do. We also reviewed all the salary and department structures for most of the comparable sized towns in Franklin County. We used FERCog data as well as data that Becky and Chief Tibbetts collected for us. We found that there's a mix of full-time chief, part-time deputy, shared chiefs. There was quite a mix of things going on, although most of the surrounding towns have been looking for full-time chief. So basically then we went through and had individual meetings, thanks to Kristen and Jim. We had individual meetings with all the current members of the Shutesbury Fire Department, both in person and by phone for the ones that we couldn't ask questions of. In summary, they responded that, you know, they currently have a knowledgeable leader who they trust and have confidence in. They're very concerned about his departure. They appreciate the level of training they're receiving, and they find the environment is nurturing and inviting. They also feel safe with him. And the consensus among them was to maintain a full-time fire chief position. They all expressed a need for more volunteers at this time. And that was something that we wanted to highlight, because I think we need to do some brainstorming on how we would help aid getting new volunteers. On January 26th, we held a public forum. We had 22 non-committee members joining us. We spent an hour and a half. We talked to people. They heard from us. There is great support for maintaining a full-time fire chief. There was a suggestion that a fire chief and a deputy chief could possibly split the coverage. People wanted to know how to increase the number, once again, of current volunteers. There was concern that efficient emergency response should be maintained. Support for the new chief, being able to work with the current chief for a smooth transition. Everybody wants to be involved in the hiring, including firefighters. Lots of people want to be able to see the hiring, et cetera. There was an understanding that though it's not possible necessarily to hire a fire chief that resides in town, there should be some stipulation similar to the police chief job with respect to residency. So our recommendation, finally, that we made were that we should be looking to hire a full-time strong fire chief as defined in Mass General Law, Chapter 48, Section 42. As in the current job description, the chief is not required to live in town. The committee is recommending the successful candidate reside no more than a 35-minute commute from town. The new fire chief should be required to join the Franklin County Fire Chiefs Association. We strongly recommend that the new job description include having the chief join the Western Mass Fire Chiefs Mentoring Program. And if there are no qualified applicants for the full-time chief, the committee recommends hiring a part-time deputy chief and part-time chief in order to maintain coverage in town. And that is our recommendation.
Good. Thank you, Elaine, for that review. So what I want to do is first entertain questions from select board members and have a discussion. And then if we have time, we will take public comments.
Do you want me to stop sharing?
I have the report in front of me. Does anybody, Eric or?
I have in front of me too.
I have it on my screen.
Okay,
I'll
so
stop
yeah, so
sharing
let's
so you can
just,
see
you can
people's
stop
faces.
sharing. Yep,
Okay.
great, thank you.
Yep.
So Eric, Melissa, any questions for the committee members, observations?
I first want to just say thank you to all those who were on the committee and did all that work. It was, thank you very much for putting that together. I appreciate all that time you spent.
Mhm.
You're welcome.
As far as questions, I don't think I have any. It was pretty well explained in the documents we received, and Elaine, you explained it well tonight. So
Good, Eric?
I would agree with that. Thank you and all that. That's certainly to be said and appreciated. I mean, the other thing, correct me if I'm wrong, but my sense is that we're sort of saying effectively maintain the status quo. Is that's how I read this. And my sense is that that's what the town wants. I mean, that There was that whole issue of, whether Walter was adequately compensated and so forth, and the town very strongly supported that as far as I can tell. I know that there are maybe some people in the town that don't want to pay the fire department or whatever, but my sense is the majority of people do, and that let the taxpayers speak, and that's what they want. I think we should basically go with it.
We did
Should we also-
entertain having a shared chief with other communities, but it didn't seem to, the model just doesn't seem to work very well. And the idea of having a chief that is shared from which side of town and, where is all the equipment and all, it just didn't make sense at this time.
April, did you have a comment or?
No, actually, I was going to comment that we did explore, the having a shared chief, and as Elaine said, it just did not seem feasible for a number of reasons.
So I had a couple of questions about whether or not there are shared chiefs. I know it's come up before, but did you encounter I don't know if you did any.
Yes, Walter, you can address that if you would, please.
Yep, currently, at least in Franklin County, there's a shared chief between Wendell and New Salem, Joe Cuneo. There is a shared chief between Shelburne Falls, who just voted to go this year full-time chief, and he is also a part-time chief in the town of Buckland. There's a shared chief between Charlemont and Rowe, which are both part-time positions. And then there's a shared chief between Coleraine and Heath. Those are the four that I know of in Franklin County. There may be some other ones in some of the other counties, but those are the only ones I'm aware of.
And generally, how well or not well do those agreements work?
Some of those are working very well. The one I'm most familiar with is New Salem Wendell. Again, they did that because one chief had retired. Actually, chief in both towns had retired. And they were, again, part-time chiefs in both of those towns. One was a truly volunteer chief, I believe. And then when Joe took over New Salem, they worked out a deal between the two towns. And I don't know all the ins and outs of all that, but that they are sharing the chief. They share his expenses. He's actually 19 hours a week in New Salem unbenefited, and I think 19 or 20 in Wendell with benefits. New Salem had bought his vehicle for him, but the town share the maintenance between the two. So his time is pretty well evenly spent. But then if you look again at Wendell, it's a fairly small department. There's only 4 or 5 people on the department right now. Kind of the same thing happened Coleraine Heath, where the Heath chief had passed away, and they really had nobody to do the chief's position. They did ask the neighboring chief from Coleraine, who did his part-time, to do it. And I think because he has a full-time state job, if it was anything more than that, he wouldn't really be able to do it. Kind of same thing with Charlemont Rowe. It's a chief that used to be full-time in Orange. He's now just part-time in both of those towns, and he's basically he basically retired, but then but took those 2 jobs in as part-time. And then the Buckland Shelburne Falls one seems to be working okay also. And it was the Buckland chief who applied for and received the full-time chief's position in Shelburne Falls and just kept on with the Buckland also. So I don't know if they're actually in that case a shared chief, but it's a chief in 2 towns because one's full-time, one's part-time. I don't know exactly how that all works out, but they seem to be working for their particular instance. As the committee found out, fire chiefs and how they're, looked at is very different in each town, and what works good in one town does not necessarily work good in another town.
Okay, was, my other question had to do with the job description and actual duties, and was there anything in this list that kind of jumped out as being that more time was needed, or so the emergency management trainer, all of those things, those are above and beyond emergency calls, right? Did you look at the balance of time at all? Was that discussed?
We did. We looked at just what Walter actually does through the course of the day, and how much time he spends on each one. It was really hard to track exactly how many hours are spent in each one of those positions, but as April is on the personnel committee, I think she was taking down the decisions as to how to tweak the position when it actually comes up as a job description from the personnel committee. But all of those things seem to merge well into being a full-time chief position, and it would be hard to pull out some of those and have it a different position. I think we all agreed that it would make more sense to just keep it as one person.
Plus, also, I think as Walter was pointing out that, this is often the case in small towns. You don't have a department that does maintenance for the entire town, or that's just sort of the way it falls out in small town fire chief.
Okay. Other questions? Eric, Melissa?
Most,
Okay, do we have any questions or comments from town residents who are here? If you do, please use the raised hand feature, which is at the bottom, reactions button at the bottom of your screen, and then do raise hand. Penny. Yep, you got it. I see you.
The applause came up first.
Right.
I was just wondering if somewhere we could say that in the future, we might be attentive to things that may be emerging in the region. I think I've heard that there are some sub-regional agreements to provide the emergency medical services.
Mhm.
And it seems to me that maybe in the future, the idea of going towards something like that has benefits, because when we're local, I mean, we're expecting an awful lot, the whole training aspect of getting volunteers ready to provide those services. I'm just wondering if we can somewhere note that we should be alert to a trend that provides for these sub-regional agreements that might provide, professionals that aren't necessarily only locals. Just a thought. And who knows what else the future might bring.
Can we discuss that? Does Sunderland, and there's a number of local towns that subcontract, they have their own ambulance service that they subcontract with, I believe. But I think part of the committee's work was also, we looked, Walter really explained to us in depth the different agreements that we have, with our surrounding towns to cover, to make sure that people do get responded to quickly.
Yeah, understood. Thank you.
And keeping in mind, this was a fire chief study committee, not, all aspects of the fire department. So not everything was looked at, but it was brought up into discussion. And yes, there are some towns that are basically, Sunderland had its own ambulance, South Deerfield had its own ambulance, and Whately had its own ambulance. They were finding it very hard to staff that ambulance. And therefore they worked together to create South County Ambulance, which is a paramedic level ambulance service housed right out of South Deerfield to cover South Deerfield, Sunderland, and Whately. But one thing that if you're looking at trends in the area, the growing trend right now and the scary trend is that most places do not have enough people to staff their ambulances to a paramedic level. I mean, first responder is not a problem. Every firefighter, as well as every police officer in the state of Massachusetts, is mandated to be trained to first responder level. That's not a choice, that's a mandate. As when you look at ambulance services, that's different. And there's where we have an agreement with Amherst Ambulance, who gives us probably the best coverage we can. And as we discussed in the whole program, during the meetings, I explained how our entire run card of mutual aid ambulances works to keep Shutesbury covered. But the big trend in the county, the state, and across the country is not having enough people to man paramedic ambulances and not being able to get ambulances. So when you start looking at joining a bunch of towns to have one place cover them, you're putting all your eggs in one basket. And if they're busy, then who does the response?
Thank you.
Thanks, thanks, Walter. We just have a couple more minutes here, so I want to make sure that if any of the select board members have anything else. I see Rachel's hand up. So Rachel, I'm going to let you go. And then I had a couple more comments.
Hi, my name is Rachel Schwab Rehorka. I am a town citizen for over 20 years. Long time, third generation, actually, Shutesbury family that I'm a part of. And you know, I am concerned about continuing to maintain a full-time fire chief and the department that we have. I think that our firefighters have spoken very clearly and in that they want a full-time fire chief, someone they can trust, someone who can train them, someone who's there for them. And, you know, I have had, unfortunately, occasion to have to call 911 in our family. And I can tell you that without having someone right here in our town who can respond, it's it's just worrisome. We live in a rural, isolated town. On one side of us is the Quabbin with no help. And you have to hope that ambulance from Amherst or wherever else is going to show up and come when there's a medical emergency for whatever family member. And that happened to some of our family members. And, you know, I can't thank the fire department enough for being here. I can't imagine a town, a small isolated town without a full-time fire department chief. So I just need to speak very strongly about that. I don't know if other townspeople have had the need to call the fire department or need an ambulance or first responder. But I just want to speak from experience. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Rachel. So I just want to make sure I understand kind of next steps from Elaine and April. Are there some recommendations going back to the personnel committee that is going to do some editing on the job description, or is that all?
No,
is the job description?
We're handing our recommendations off to you. We are a subcommittee for you, so it's up to you to be putting out the job posting, and April is going to go to the personnel committee and do any tweaking of the actual job description as you post it.
Yeah, well, that's sort of what I was asking. I think kind of my recommendation would be is that we get that revised job description, because it sounds like if you are tweaking it before we're posting this position. So that was my question. So that I got my answer. Yes, it is going back to the personnel committee. And then we assume you will give us something including.
Actually, I'm not sure if we needed that much tweaking to it. I think the most clarification was distance from town. you know, when we went through each step of the current job description, we tried to pull things out and see if that we could shift it around that way, and decided not to. So it's really miles from town. So I don't think there's a lot that the personnel board needs to do prior to a posting. And I also, the other feeling from the committee is that we're, you know, time is of the essence. You know, we have until June 30th. I don't know where Walter's going to, I don't know, your life is going to change a lot. But how to get the posting and to get some applicants.
Don't we want the applicants to know whether we will hire them depending on where they live? I would think we'd want to
Yeah.
know that first. I think
I would
Rita's
too.
point is good that we want to know that.
So
Becky wanted to.
Okay. What I'm trying to say, I'm about to get a piece of paper and write stuff to you guys, but
Yeah.
I think it's important that the select board, maybe, I don't know if you're ready to do it tonight. The issue that came up is that the police chief says they're required to live within 35 minutes of town. And it seems that the two should be consistent. I know there's issues. The fire chief is concerned. I mean, people are concerned 35 minutes from town might be an issue. But I think we have proved that our police department is able to manage that. And I know Walter did bring up consistency between the two chiefs and what we require of them would be important. And that's the main issue that the personnel board will be discussing. And they have a meeting on Monday night. So hopefully they'll get this back to you either on your March 1st or your March 15th meeting.
Thanks. Tim, we're over time now. We're kind of running. If you have something really brief to say, I'm going to give you the opportunity, but I'm trying to keep us on schedule because we do have a poll hearing, which we're kind of.
I think we have 4 minutes.
I just wanted to know what Walter's opinion was on the 35-minute distance factor and its practicality in terms of response time to fires. Thank you.
Well, if I were to answer that, closer is always better. But what we were concerned with was if you required the person to live in town, you probably were not going to get an application. We may not. So trying to keep it standardized with the police chief's one and keeping it within a 35-minute travel. What that will mean if that person is living towards that outside of that 35-minute travel time bubble is you probably aren't going to see the fire chief respond on a medical call on the overnights. There are hopefully enough trained personnel here that will respond and cover that, and may not be necessary. If it is a larger fire, well, then, you know, that could be a bit of a concern if it's a long time for him to travel there, which also brings up the fact that maybe we should be looking at, you know, in the deputy's position, if we find that's too much of a trouble, that we should maybe be looking at increasing some hours for a part-time deputy to be able to cover those hours and get somebody in a position that's trained to do that, to cover for while the chief is not there. There's no good, easy fix as far as I see, but you know, we're trying to do the best we can for what's out there. And we may get surprised. There may be somebody that lives close by and can do it. I don't know.
we also just said, you know, in terms of cultivating a deputy chief, that really would fall on the shoulders of the new chief.
Mhm.
You know, that wasn't part of our purview, but that would be something for the new chief to sort through.
Right. It's not up to the town to choose who that would be, but it could be up to the town to decide what that position would be, how many hours a week.
Right.
Yeah, so the job description should also be reviewed for the deputy chief.
Okay, so it sounds like the Personnel Committee will be meeting on Monday, and then we'll get something back from them. What I'd like to do this evening is to have a vote to accept the report, and then at our next meeting, we could kind of move ahead in terms of the hiring, but I would like to get just a final job description back from, and including the 35-minute limit, if that's where you're going, but back from the Personnel Committee. So do I hear a motion to accept the report from the Fire Chief Study Committee?
So moved.
Second,
Okay, any further discussion from select board members? Okay, so all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Makepeace O'Neill, aye.
Docker, aye.
Carol, aye. And thank you again for all your work. I know it was lots of meetings, and we really appreciate all the time, Linda.
Yeah, I just wondered, I'm sorry to interrupt, Rita, but I was just wondering if you want to disband the study committee at this point, or, because they've submitted their final report. I don't know. I just want to.
I think usually with these kind of committees, this is just a.
They just
do your
walk away.
report. We don't- Do we need an official disbandonment? That's a word.
Well, just that you appointed everyone, so I just
Yeah,
thought if you
yeah.
wanted to just
If
say.
we
that
take
they
them off the list,
concluded their
okay.
work that,
Sure, if it's cleaner to do it that way.
say
Um,
something.
Do I hear a motion to disband the fire department, fire chief study committee?
Can we hold that off on one moment, because we officially have to do one more thing, which is approve minutes of last meeting.
Oh, all right.
Could we just
Okay.
do that right now, please?
Yeah, we can do that right now and be done with it.
Are you a posted meeting?
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
We are.
Okay.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Do I hear a
I
motion?
make a motion, we accept the minutes from the last meeting.
I second.
I'll third.
Okay, roll call vote. April,
Stein, aye.
Walter,
Tibbetts, aye.
Kristen,
Burgess, aye.
Paleo, aye. Our meetings are done.
Okay, great. And so now we have do we have a motion on the floor yet to disband the fire chief study committee?
So moved.
Okay, do I hear a second? Okay,
Yes.
all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Makepeace O'Neill, aye.
Stalker, aye.
Carol, aye. Again, thank you all. And thank you for coming tonight. We really
You're
appreciate it.
welcome. Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night. So
Right.
we did have, the next item on the agenda is a report on the police study committee. But I see that, Melissa, if you're okay, I see we have somebody here from National Grid for the poll hearing. So what I'd like to do is go ahead and do the poll hearing and then hear about.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so this is my first poll hearing. It's very exciting. But I don't know what I'm doing. So I am going to ask Becky if you can just introduce the process and what the board needs to do tonight.
Sure. Sure. A poll hearing is required for National Grid to actually move the location of polls. Tonight, we are reviewing polls on Wendell Road. I'd like to introduce Laura Napolitano. Laura, could you could you open your screen so we can see you?
Oh, I don't have a camera.
Oh, sorry. Good to hear your voice. Welcome, Laura, to the poll hearing.
Thank you.
And we haven't done a lot of these. Rita hasn't, but I also have only done two
Okay.
in a long time. So we are here tonight to review the design, which I can put up on screen, and take comments from the audience to make sure abutters notices were sent out. So folks around the area are aware of the change to their road. And then I'll turn it over to you, Laura, to explain what you need from the select board, what's involved in the agreement that you're asking them to sign.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so if you want to start with the agreement, and I can put the agreement up first, if you would like.
Are you just talking about the petition request form?
Yes.
Okay, all right, sorry. So basically, I just read what the designer, how the designer has designed this particular job. This is for the town of Shutesbury. We need to install 7 solely owned poles on Wendell Road, beginning at a point approximately 308 feet southwest of the center line of the intersection of Wendell Road and Ames Haven Road, and continuing approximately 800 feet in the southeast direction. The purpose of the installation of these 7 poles is to extend the primary service down to the address of 585 Wendell Road for the new construction of a residential home to be able to serve that home.
Great. Do we, I think Rita, at this point, you want to take comments from the audience?
Yep. Do we have any comments? If you would just, if you do have a comment, if you could use the raised hand feature. Select board comments, questions about the installation of these poles? I just, for my own curiosity, who pays for this? Sounds like it's for a new house. Does the cost of those poles then get picked up by
the homeowner? Yes, ma'am.
By the homeowner? Okay.
And I believe the homeowner is here tonight as well. If you want to make any comments, Wim.
No comment, just eagerly awaiting the delivery of electrical service.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you, Wim.
And these poles are all put in like the public right of way. Is that?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Okay.
And
All
in
right,
this,
so-
I'm sorry, Rita.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
I'm having trouble getting the pictures not coming up. So
And I do see, while you're doing that, I see a question from Walter.
Yeah,
Walter?
just a quick question, Laura. Is this being tied into the feed from the Wendell end, or is this being tied to the Shutesbury end, therefore be coming from the Pratt Corner Road substation?
Let me go to the actual.
It's the Wendell end.
Okay.
It is the
He
Wendell
knows
end. Okay.
already.
Yes.
All right, thank you. That was my only question.
Okay, any questions, other questions, comments? So it looks like I just pulled it up on my phone so that as a result of this public hearing, then the select board would execute the order for pole and wire locations. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So do I hear a motion to approve the order for pole and wire locations, which will then be signed, looks like by the select board and the town clerk?
Does it have to be notarized?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So moved.
For your second? You're muted. But it looks like, Eric, you're
Second.
muted. Yeah. Okay.
Second.
Second. Okay. Any further discussion, questions? All
Quick
right.
question. Could I just ask, in your experience, once this is approved by the board, what's the timeline? And maybe this is a question for National Grid. What is the timeline usually like before the work gets underway?
Well, I'll say it's as a designer, we don't really get too much into the time frame of things. That's actually a question for your job owner, because they know from start to finish, they know all the requirements of the job. The only thing that I can talk to you about is any kind of technical issues. But for timeframes, that would be your job owner, the person at National Grid that you're dealing with, or that your electrician is dealing with.
Oh, okay. All right.
When, I can't talk. It took us, we just got the pole moved by the dam. And our hearing was in the beginning of October. And it happened this week. It happened Tuesday.
Okay. That's good
So
to know.
good luck.
I can reach out to the job owner, Mr. Lean, and ask them to reach out to you to let
Thank
you
you.
know where they are.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're very welcome. And I'm assuming that we have your email address.
Yes, they do. I've already signed a contract with National Grid.
Okay, well, I'll reach out to the job owner, let them know that that you'd like to know kind of where we're looking at putting you.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so a motion's been made and seconded to execute the order for the pole and wire locations. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Well, there they are.
6 of them.
Okay. Well, we're in the middle of the vote here. Melissa
Makepeace O'Neill, aye.
Stalker, eye.
and Farrell, aye. Thank you. If anybody wants that map, you can ask, Becky can get it to you. All right. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Wim, for joining us this
Thanks.
evening. So we're gonna double back to just a brief report update from the Police Study Committee. So it's, you know, there are a few of us, at least 3 of us anyway, who are here. We're on the committee.
4. There's
Melissa's,
4 of us.
Melissa chairs, so 4 of us, okay.
Yep.
Right, Melissa chairs. So do you want to just briefly give an update, Melissa? Thanks.
Sure. So what we have done so far is we've done some information gathering for share chief positions. Susie gave us some information on that, South County specifically. We gathered together some information on other surveys that other communities have gone out. We created our own survey. We've looked at budgets of all the towns in, or most of the towns in Franklin County, the makeup of the different departments in Franklin County. There has been one model that has been discussed in a little bit of depth. We have done, the survey has gone out. The survey took us a while. Our committee was struggling with getting that formulated, but it went out. There was a little snag with our mailing distributor, which was fixed. We are set to tally those surveys data tomorrow, and then also meet with 2 of the committee members. Will be meeting with the current police officers and interviewing them with a set of questions to bring back to the full committee. So I think that's pretty much a general summary of what we've done so far. And then going forward, I have a few ideas for that, but wanted the others to have a moment to jump in if you wanted to add anything to that real quick summary.
That seemed pretty accurate. I
Okay.
think everybody on the, well, I shouldn't speak for everybody, but we're certainly anxious to get the survey finalized and wrapped up and get the committee work wrapped up. So I think there's,
I've attempted to make that easy enough to do with a data entry form, so no one has to sit and look at a spreadsheet. All you have to do is enter the answers and it populates. So
good.
Becky's hand was up.
Vicky?
I just want to mention there were just over 300.
Oh, thank you.
Received.
Yeah, that's great.
300 envelopes. We don't know how many are in the envelopes yet.
Yeah, that's a great return.
Yeah.
For how many were, I mean, how many did we figure were eligible? Like
11. We sent 2 to each household, so it was 800 something households, some 600 something.
So 1,600.
1,600. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. great. All right, and the next meeting of the police study.
So we're
committee?
meeting the data tomorrow, and then the third, hold on, I'm gonna look at the calendar. I have it listed here. It is on the 3rd, correct, Becky? Right?
Thursday, the
Third,
3rd.
thank you. Yeah, okay.
Great. Thanks. Am I missing anybody? Okay. All right, so the next thing we wanted to do is just give an update on where we are with the regional assessment for the 4-town regional schools. And Becky, I'd make you do it, but I think given your voice, I can't remember now when we met.
Thursday.
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 And I think, you know, it went incredibly well with the 4 towns. And I think it was really I would credit the leadership at the region. So the superintendent and the finance director with really turning everybody around to kind of where Shutesbury was, and that is that 100% statutory was where we wanted to be, and that was it's 100% statutory with a 5-year rolling average, so that you don't get walloped in any one year if your enrollment goes up. And basically what that means is that Shutesbury's share will, it was a pretty significant drop, but they put in, it's not roadblocks, what did they call it?
Guardrails.
Guardrails. I knew it had something to do with roads. Put in guardrails so that there wouldn't be any more than a 4% increase for any one of the communities.
Or
so like a decrease, is it a decrease or an increase? And so what that meant was that I think in Shutesbury's case, because our decrease would have been more than 4% if we went straight 100% with the 5-year rolling average for this upcoming year, that we would at 4%, we would be, I think it was somewhere in the $65,000 range that are what we would be paying this next fiscal year, and the upcoming FY23 budget is about $65,000 less than we paid the previous year. And the school is using, a number of ways of making sure that the burden, using some of the federal money to make sure that the burden, that it wasn't a huge burden on any one of the 4 towns. And everybody kind of accepted that's how we move forward. And I think we're all giving a huge sigh of relief that maybe we don't anymore have to go through this really painful process every year with the 4 towns and figuring this out, that this becomes the standard and that everybody accepts it. So I think did they vote? Did the regional school committee vote? Do you know, Becky? They haven't voted yet.
Not yet.
Okay, but that's where we landed with the 4 towns. So
and they have to vote, right? They're the ones that actually do this,
yes,
right? I mean,
yes, yeah. We were just all in agreement. Becky?
Steve Sullivan reported that the superintendent reported to the regional school committee that there have been no complaints from any community about the recommendation.
Mhm.
So they are moving forward.
That's great news. And as I said,
It
a huge relief for those of us who attended many Saturday morning lengthy meetings, and and just to have that finally settled, where we felt that statutory method was the fairest method. So that was great news. Next, we wanted to check in about town hall closure. Town hall's currently been closed, and Becky, I'll speak up to relieve you of the responsibility. I spoke to Becky today. It was, my recommendation to the other members of the board was that we reopen town hall. And I think what we need to be sensitive to is that there are still vulnerable people out there, so that we would continue to request that people coming into town hall wear masks. And we have a policy for personnel with regard to vaccinations and testing and so forth. So, that we had adopted, but that we do reopen town hall, I would say effective tomorrow. And that, we continue to ask people to mask when they come into town hall until we're really sure we're beyond this pandemic. Maybe we'll never be beyond it, but beyond the really difficult parts. Melissa, I see your hand.
I just wanted to add a little bit of tidbit that I had found looking for some data today at work. On the mass.gov website, they track vaccination rate by town, and they had Shutesbury listed at 1,742 people as vaccinated. So,
that's
yeah.
everybody in town, isn't it?
That's
Nearly,
Nearly.
nearly. So maybe we should applaud our town for being
Yeah.
so well vaccinated, but it helps us knowing as we open up things that is the case. So, yeah.
And that's also a sign that the census figure of 1717 may be wrong.
A little low.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
And I'd venture to say, I know of some people who live in town who are not vaccinated.
Right.
So.
Yeah. There
Right,
are
not
some.
at
Yeah.
100.
No. It
at
did say it was based on the zip code of when you went in and filled out your form to be vaccinated. It was based on zip code that was given.
Okay.
So, yep.
Okay.
But anyway, that was the number, and I
Good.
thought
No, that's,
you know,
yes, that's great.
pertinent.
So Becky, do you want to vote I think we should probably vote. So do I hear a motion to officially reopen town hall to the public?
I will make a motion that we reopen town hall to the public.
Second,
Okay, any further discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Makepeace O'Neill, aye.
Stalker, aye.
Farrell, aye. So Becky, if you could get that out as a town announce, that would be great.
Will do.
And all right, so what we need to do next is talk about annual town meeting date. And we've had our annual town meeting scheduled. We voted town meeting a couple of years ago, I think, to do it the last Saturday in April. And we haven't done that through COVID times. We moved it later in order to assure that we could do something outside and with the tent. And again, I think there's interest in doing a meeting outside if we can, the same way that we've done the last couple of years. I know it's an additional expense to the town and a lot of extra work on the part of town getting all of that arranged and getting that whole the whole thing set up. But given we just don't know where we're going to be, so I think what I've been thinking about is doing it somewhat later than the end of April, just to assure kind of the weather-wise that we have a little bit of, and it also gives us an opportunity. There are some things where we could use a little bit more time this year, rather than, we're getting close now for town meeting. We're not done with the budget. We don't have word back on the library grant approval, which is going to come later than was expected. And there needs to be time between that announcement and getting ready for getting the warrant together for town meeting. So I think, Becky, you had come up with some
think
dates
so.
and checked it with Grace.
No, those aren't mine.
So we're proposing May 21st, after conversation with the town clerk, who is anxious to get ready, handing out her nomination papers to people, and in conversation with a librarian who just was interested in the date because of the big pilot ask that they will be doing for a new library.
Rachel, if you just hold on, I wanted to see if either of the select board members had any comments, issues with that May 21st date. I assume that's a Saturday, right?
Hang on 1 second. I just want to make sure I don't. Hold on. Give me 2 seconds. We're having 2 graduations this year at Amherst College.
Oh boy.
Yeah, one for the class of 2020 and one for the class of 2022.
Uh-huh.
I just want to make sure it's not that date. 1 second.
I know.
Meanwhile, it's fine with me.
Okay,
I will
that's
say
not
that.
Memorial Day weekend, right? It's Memorial Day.
No, it's the week before. and-
Okay.
It should be okay. Let me just check my email.
Okay.
Going this
UMass
route.
is on the 14th. UMass graduation is the week before. Well, it's actually the 13th. I think Brad's on the 14th, graduate students.
Yeah, they started to stagger them when they were all starting to be on the same weekend.
Right.
Because there just wasn't enough hotel rooms and there just wasn't enough services in the area.
Rachel, why don't I take your question while?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to make a comment. I really appreciate that the town is considering holding the meeting outside under a tent again this year. And I hope that the town will do that. And I also feel that meeting later, as in the end of May or whatever, is really helpful, because I think if it's cold, you're going to get less people to
Right.
show up at town meeting or bad weather. So I think I really support what you're doing, and I hope that we can make that happen, the outdoor annual town meeting under the tent. I realize it's a huge amount of work, huge. The parking, all of it, the tents. But thank you.
Thanks, Rachel. Melissa, what do you think?
Yep, I'm just looking at the 21st right now.
Okay.
And May 21st. That looks okay.
Oh, yay. Okay,
It's the
great.
28th or the 29th. That is the 29th, and then one in June. So I'm good.
Great. Good. Thanks. So do I hear a motion to move annual town meeting to Saturday, May 21st, 9 a.m.?
So moved.
Second,
Okay, any further discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Makepeace O'Neill, aye.
Stalker eye.
Farrell, aye. All right.
Thank you for your patience with that one.
Yeah. No, I can understand. Graduation's a big deal for you. I know
Yeah,
that.
and then 2 of them.
Yeah. Okay, so we have Mass Cultural Council grant contract.
I'm sorry. Let's get it on screen.
You're gonna put something up on screen, Becky, or yeah?
Then I won't have to talk, I hope.
Right, okay.
This is the annual Cultural Council grant for $5,000. A lot of programs happen in the community as a result of this. They give away every dime and it's competitive.
Great. I think I just saw, I don't know, I was looking at town officials who are appointed, you know, we have a pretty good, I don't know, there were 5 or 6 people on our local cultural council, right, who make decisions about how this money is gonna be spent. So we're always happy to take money. Do I hear a motion to execute the Mass Cultural Council grant contract?
I make a motion that we sign the Mass Cultural Grant. It just went off my screen.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Peace O'Neill, aye.
Stalker, aye.
Farrell, aye. Okay, we're on to more. Another contract that we have for FERCog for the Bridge Academy, and it's Bridge Academy earmark contract. And I believe that this is a reimbursement for officers who have gone to the Bridge Academy, if I understand it correctly. I don't know the amount.
It's $4,600.
And is that for how many?
2 officers.
2 officers, okay.
Yeah.
So FERCog gets, did they get a grant from the state and then they
got a $100,000 grant to give to communities in Franklin County.
Oh, okay.
And it's based on the number of people in the bridge program per town. We have a few people in our community going through the bridge program right now.
Right.
And then we have another person eligible on July 1st.
Okay, so we could still draw on that.
I think there's gonna be another
contract?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is for this fiscal year?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, do I hear a motion to execute the FERCog Bridge Academy earmark contract?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Makepeace O'Neill, aye.
Stalker, aye.
Farrell, aye. Okey-dokey. So the last thing that we need to vote on is the State Police Dispatch Services MOU renewal, Memorandum of Understanding renewal.
The full contract is page by page, but this is a renewal of a contract that started in 1994, and it has been intermittently renewed. I think the last time was in 2014 or 13. And again, they felt they needed to get another 5-year MOU out there.
So this is just that the Massachusetts State Police will provide coverage to
Services,
the town.
emergency services for the town and services.
But this doesn't come with any kind of dollar. This is simply will provide the services to you.
Yes, it's an MOU.
Okay,
An MOU, it's not grant money.
right. Okay, great, thanks.
They do point out we're lucky to have it for no cost.
They're lucky we pay our taxes too.
Right,
so.
they're lucky they're lucky we give them the money that they can give it back to us.
Yeah, generous state, yeah. Okay, so do I hear a motion to execute the State Police Dispatch Services MOU renewal?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Makepeace O'Neill, aye.
Stalker, aye.
Farrell, aye. Okay, Becky, I hate to say it, but if you have any updates that are really critical, I know we're meeting again next week, so we have a meeting.
Would
Today
it
is
be
Wednesday.
okay-
We have a meeting on Tuesday.
Would it be okay if I give them on Tuesday?
Yeah, if there's nothing really pressing, absolutely. I don't see any problem with that.
Informational, and there's no time sensitive issues.
Okay. And I know you had begun drafting the agenda. You kind of got the meeting up there with the posting, and then the agenda will be finalized probably tomorrow or Friday morning at the latest, and then posted.
Yeah.
For next Tuesday's meeting,
March 1st.
March 1st. And then the meeting after that is March 15th.
Correct.
Right. Okay. All right, great. Hearing, is there anything else that we've missed? Anybody feel like they?
Is there stuff for us to sign up there at the town hall for this? Okay.
Every contract you just approved, and
But I mean, are there warrants and so forth as well? Okay.
Okay, I will be up in the morning at 10:15 or so, so I can sign stuff then. So Melissa, you available tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll be up at the town hall at 4 anyway for the
Oh,
survey
okay.
stuff.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
All
so I'll
right.
be there.
Yeah,
I'll
be there
grab it in the
tomorrow
middle of
in
all
the
that.
late morning or something. I'll be there. I would assume.
Okay, great. All right.
record
So,
time.
yeah, with that many items. So do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Make peace, O'Neill. Aye.
Stalker eye.
And Farrell, aye. Thank you, Becky. Feel better and get your voice back. And we will see everybody again on, if not before, we'll see you on Tuesday evening.
Sounds great.
Thanks all.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Bye.